What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Colby Covington slams Ian Garry. While Ian Garry is known for his brash nature, the outspoken contender recently decided to set his social accounts to private and restrict comments amid widespread discussions about his relationship. Leading up to his UFC 296 clash with Vicente Luque, the MMA community became aware of a book Garry's wife wrote many years ago, drawing attention to their relationship and the age gap between them. With the UFC 296 card right around the corner, headliner Colby Covington took aim at the Irish star, offering him some advice after his own fair share of controversies in the past. He spoke during an interview with All Out Fighting.
All I'll say about Ian is you step in shoes, Junior, you better wipe that shit off. So, I've had death threats, bombings, people wanted to kill me after Brazil. I never turned off my social media. I never turned off my comments. Look at that little Ian Garry. He turned off his comments like a little sensitive soy boy. So, he ain't a tough. He ain't the biggest and baddest fighter in this division. The guy's a joke. He's a little kid. So,
while the pair will both be on hand for the UFC 296 Fight Week press conference, don't expect Covington to talk trash to Garry. As he revealed, his focus is fully on Leon Edwards and nobody else. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight. In the wake of his win over Jiří Procházka, there's been some talk of Glory Kickboxing Hall of Famer Alex Pereira making the move up to heavyweight. Despite the fact that there's never been a three-division UFC champion, Poatin's longtime friend and training partner Glover Teixeira believes that he's disciplined enough to make the transition to heavyweight. The comments sparked discussion throughout the MMA community, with fans, analysts, and fellow fighters all weighing in on the possibility of Pereira becoming a three-division champ. During a recent episode of Funky and the Champ, Daniel Cormier and Ben Askren weighed in on the situation, with Askren saying that he would favor John Jones or Tom Aspinall in a fight against Poatin. Cormier agreed, saying that although Pereira has the ability to fight at heavyweight, he too feels as though Aspinall and Jones would give Pereira a tough time.
I think it will be hard though. To heavyweight would be tough just because of the wrestling aspect, and once he gets down, the amount of weight that those guys have.
If John Jones or Tom Aspinall are on top of you, that's going to be not good.
If John Jones is on top of you and you're laying there, he's going to elbow you.
Of course, before Pereira entertains the idea of moving up, first he'll have to get through his next opponent, who's expected to be former champion Jamal Hill. Next, let's take a look at Shavkat Rakhmonov talks about Stephen Thompson fight. At UFC 296, undefeated contender Shavkat Rakhmonov will look to take the next step towards capturing UFC gold when he takes on famed striker Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. The fight is expected to deliver fireworks, with many wondering whether Wonderboy will be able to keep things on the feet. As the former title challenger recently indicated, given his striking abilities, he's preparing for the Nomad to take him down. Leading up to the fight, however, Rakhmonov has indicated that he is confident he can be the first fighter to beat Thompson on the feet since Anthony Pettis. During a recent episode of Morning Combat, he spoke through an interpreter to share his thoughts on the fight.
It depends how will he will act, but I think my standing game is not worse than him, and I think I can beat him standing game. As I remember, nobody won him in standing games, but of course I mentioned that he missed sometimes he missed shots, and I never seen him lost by choke. Only one time I remember that Anthony Pettis won him by knockout.
Rakhmonov's memory does serve him correct. Outside of Anthony Pettis' Superman punch back in 2019, Thompson has never been finished on the feet or submitted. Of course, the Nomad will be entering the fight with a 100% finish rate and will be looking to keep that streak alive. With a potential #1 contender fight on the horizon for the winner, it's safe to say that the stakes are at an all-time high heading into the pair's December 16th bout. Next up, let's take a look at Ian Garry worried about fighting in the US. With his name firmly in headlines heading into UFC 296, Ian Garry is well aware of the fact that not only he, but his wife have become well known to MMA fans. As he continues with final preparations before his clash with Vicente Luque on the 16th, Garry has admitted that he's cautious about going to America. As he explained in a recent interview with TNT Sports, he isn't nervous about the fight itself. However, he is concerned about potentially running into loudmouth fight fans and keeping himself in check.
I'm a little bit cautious about going to America for the safety of my family with all the that's been going on online, to protect my wife, to protect my child, to protect myself. I'm not remotely concerned or worried about a fight. The fight's fun, the fight's easy for me. But me not being able to react to people in person, it's going to wind me up a little bit.
With all of the publicity surrounding he and his family, the big question will be whether the situation impacts Garry's performance come fight night. Although he's fresh off a dominant victory over Neil Magny, Vicente Luque is believed to be the toughest test of the young star's career, and as such, many have wondered if the online talk could have a negative impact on his performance. Next, let's take a look at UFC fight updates. With UFC 296 right around the corner, let's look ahead to the new year, where 2 new fights have reportedly been added to upcoming cards in February. First up on the calendar, we have a flyweight scrap between Nate Maness and Azat Maksum. The bout will take place on the February 3rd UFC Fight Night Dolidze vs. Imavov card, where Maness will be looking to build on an October win over Mateus Mendoza. On the flip side, undefeated contender Azat Maksum will be looking to build on a successful UFC debut back in July that saw him defeat Tyson Nam. The following weekend, on February 10th, Daniel Marcos will collide with Aoriqi Lang at UFC Vegas 86, also known as UFC Fight Night Hermansson vs. Pfeiffer. The bout will see Marcos look to extend his unbeaten 15-0 record after having 3 fights in a row canceled. On the flip side, Aoriqi Lang will be looking to build momentum on an October win over Johnny Munoz Jr., which returned him to the win column after a loss to Ayman Zahabi back at UFC 289 in June. With the end of the year in sight, expect the UFC to put the pedal to the metal in regards to matchmaking for upcoming cards in the new year. Next up, let's take a look at the MMA community goes off on Israel Adesanya. Former UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya recently found himself on the receiving end of some criticism from the MMA community after an Instagram comment he posted online. Many years back, Adesanya infamously dismissed his losses to Alex Pereira, saying that Pereira would one day be sitting in a bar watching him on TV and telling his friends that he beat the last stylebender one time. In the wake of Adesanya's win over Pereira at UFC 287, many fans feel that he's become the very thing he claimed Pereira would turn into. After writing in a since-deleted comment on Instagram, "P.S. I knocked the out of the UFC light heavyweight champ, but 3-1 though," fans were quick to take aim at the former champ, with one using Adesanya's own line against him, writing, "I beat that guy one time." Another reflected on the irony of the situation, writing, "Funny how life works. Israel said Alex would be that guy in a bar saying I beat that guy, before fast forward to now Izzy is exactly what he said Alex would be, holding on to his one win over Alex." Another wrote, "I'm honestly embarrassed for him, man. Shame to see him go out like this." Another pointed out that after Pereira's latest call out of Adesanya, after his UFC 295 victory over Yuri Prochazka, there's nothing stopping the last stylebender from walking right into a title fight at 205 pounds, writing, "It's crazy because Alex in the UFC would allow Izzy to immediately fight for the light heavyweight belt versus Alex, and he, Izzy, don't want it. He's lost in his career, scared to revenge the Sean loss and not confident enough to challenge Alex at light heavyweight." One fan referenced the DUI Adesanya got prior to his clash with Sean Strickland, writing, "Got caught for a DUI and now just sits there clinging onto the fact he beat the more successful fighter one time. How poetic." Despite the fact that Adesanya's career isn't over and the former champ is merely on a hiatus, one member of the MMA community simply wrote, "One of the biggest downfalls ever, LMAO. With the former champ teasing a hiatus until 2027, there's no telling when he'll return to action." Next, let's take a look at Vicente Luque breaks silence on Ian Garry's situation. Although Vicente Luque's focus is on defeating Ian Garry at UFC 296, the top-ranked contender is aware that Garry may be trying to play some mind games. When the fight between the two was announced, it was all respect between the pair. However, things then took a turn as Garry posted a comment on Luque's Instagram that rubbed some fans the wrong way. Given that the pair knew one another fairly well from their time training together, Garry sending a shot across the bow via Instagram also took many by surprise. As Luque explained in a recent interview with Middle Easy, he isn't taking the situation personally, although he did find the Irish star's comment disrespectful.
But I did feel like, hey, I was doing something that was really important for me. I posted about it, and he chose to make fun or whatever out of it, So I was like, okay. And I'm sure that many guys, look at that and hey, he was a teammate from us, and now he's fighting against one of us, and now he just decides to change, his attitude. So I think that bothers a lot of people. But
heading into the fight, Garry currently sits as a pretty sizable favorite on DraftKings at -360 odds, while Luque sits as an underdog at +285 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. With the fight between the two rapidly approaching, it'll be interesting to see if Garry can mend fences with the Kill Cliff MMA crew after the bout. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.